So we discussed the introduction of consultancy, and we say it was an attracting endeavor. And then we also discussed why people engage in consultancy. We discussed some of the purpose. We talk about achieving organizational purpose and objective. We talk about solving management and business problems. We also discuss the meaning of consultancy, in which we say consultancy was the practice or profession of giving expert advice, especially within a particular field. We discuss the techniques, various techniques that consultants use. We talk about management consulting. And we also talk about key concept from the definition, where we mention specialized skills. And we said consultancy are usually offered by people from outside the organization. And we talk about the deliverables, the cost, quality, and time of consultancy. And I think, yes, that's all for me. Thank you. And we'll talk about the different perspective of consultancy. We'll look at the client perspective, the regulator perspective, as well as the business perspective. Thank you.
Yes, good evening. Maybe I can chip in. Yes, still last week we discussed on the reasons why some organizations need consultants, and we're looking at the need to get more new ideas from the consultants. We're also looking at the need to judge the viability of the client's business, to tap into the new clients of that consultant that could help the business to grow bigger. And also, the consultant could be in position to recommend changes that would help the organization to get better. We looked at advantages of using consultants, looking at change management, looking at consultants' work outside of their clients' hierarchy. We further looked at the current perspectives or consultants in the current industry, looking at the challenges that affect consultants in our current situation. We were giving some examples in regards to payment. Sometimes to get a consultant contract, you have to do more being corrupt. Maybe you're an auditor, you've been called to audit something big, and ideally you're paid something outside the scope of work to do something wrong or to give a false report. Those were some of the current day-to-day challenges we were seeing that are affecting the consultancy industry, and how we should always as well stay ethical as we offer the service. Hopefully I could as well give the mic to some other person to say something in the interest of time. Over to you, Prof.
Can everybody contribute? The only two people have contributed. The ones who have just come, I wonder who your president is. Is the one supposed to be managing recaps? I will ask again, who is the class president?
Doctor, I'm here. I'm sorry I joined late. I was attending to a child.
Can you kindly manage the recap?
Yes, thank you. So I joined when others were already submitting, and colleagues, feel free to give a recap. Let's hear from Dorothy. Dorothy, do you have something to say based on last week's lecture?
I will contribute later, Viola. Not prepared right now.
Okay. Peter Mariel. Yes, Dominic.
Yes, yeah. Thank you very much. Good evening, doctor and colleagues. Yeah, what we actually learned last week, I was able to grasp something about issues of ethical dilemma in public sectors. We said there is always payment drama, especially when you're dealing with government. Sometimes payment exceeds like 6 months, they will dodge, they will delay payment. So it's actually a challenge. We also said in public um, sector, we also have issues to do with the conflict of interest, whereby you find maybe the procurement officer may be having a company. So when a consultancy opportunity comes, sometimes they tend to, divert it to their own company. Or else they may have some sort of string attached where they may need some kitu kidogo, and this is very common. There is also a tendency of preferring, for foreign farms to domestic farms, which is very common. They feel foreign farm can do much better than domestic farm, which is very common, in public sector. So basically, these are some few points that I can give. Otherwise, I submit. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dominic. Yes, Wilfred. After Wilfred, we'll have Lobojo. Alfred. Over to Wilfred.
Yeah, thank you, Viola, and thank you, colleagues. I remember we had a discussion on the introduction to consultancy, but also my take home was, of course, consultancy is a process that requires continuous nurturing, whereby you have to develop yourself to grow into the professional work. But also in the process, it requires also a fertile environment where you can perform effectively in the environment, being offering the consultancy to the organizations or to the government. There's need to be open, and also the resources have to be available when undertaking consultancy. But also it requires a very conducive environment that will support your work. Just what Dominic has said, of course, the kitu kidogo also can affect the quality of work. So that has to be taken into consideration. But also it requires expertise for you to do a very good consultancy work. That means your technical competence and analytical ability is very key in the sector where you're offering the consultancy service. I also remember about the commitment as a consultant. You really need to be very committed, but also the government or the NGO or the private sector to whom or to which you're offering the services should be very supportive when you're delivering the consultancy work. Thank you. Over to you, Viola. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for that detailed explanation. Let's hear from Alfred. Lobojo.
Thank you. Good evening, class, and good evening, doctor. From last week, Alexas, we learned a lot, and my take was on how we can be ethical, how we can not undermine our career as being consultants, where we cannot be pulled down or we cannot be played by resources that will be given to us so that we may not consider what is required of consultancy. And then the other thing I also learned is consultancy is good because sometimes it connects the organizations with some of the donors, prominent donors that the consultant have worked with, so that they can also be able to grow and then and expand on their service to the communities. I think these are a few that I learned. Thank you. I submit.
Okay, thank you. We also looked at the different perspectives, consultancy in different contexts where clients have the views and expectations. And then we also have a situation where consultants themselves have their own views and expectations. And we looked at it from different perspectives. I know the previous colleagues should have talked about it, but if anyone could hint more onto the business perspective, grow, make profits, and sustainability. Yes, Peter Mariol.
Yeah, thank you and good evening, colleagues. Just to add on the three perspectives that you've just talked about. One is the business perspective. Of course, when you venture into consultancy business, consultancy firm, it means that you want to make a business with companies, with governments, and the rest. And so your aim is to make profits and also to grow. By growing, it means that if you start in one district, for the case of Uganda, you might want to expand to three other districts by 5 years, and the rest, and even you can expand to other countries. So that is another thing. And then by sustainable, how do you sustain them? So as a consultant, there are different ways of sustaining your consultancy firm. One being customer oriented. You treat clients so that you don't lose trust from them. If you are given a consultancy work, you put in your effort to ensure that you deliver quality work, and you can even offer additional work that are not part of the contract. So from the regulatory perspective, of course, once you get into that business, you're earning money, and so the government of where you are running that business taxes you because you are a company. So it's a source of revenue for the government. And you also offer prudent advices to companies, individuals that are running their own businesses. From the client perspective, of course, you are now an expert in that area, so you know what to offer when you are given a contract or when you are consulted by either an individual or a government or a company. So you ensure that you value the clients value your advice or your consultancy pieces of advice. So you have that client perspective in you. Thank you, and I submit.
Thank you. You also hinted onto the fact that they're known to be smart people, and we take advantage of them within the organizations actually to get ideas or to solve to get innovative solutions to certain problems within the organization. Musamali Anthony, you're welcome. Just for us to know, Anthony will be supporting is from IMS class. He will be supporting the coordination of consultancy skills with me. Remember, Dr. hinted on it that we needed some other person. Yeah, so Anthony, do you have something to add?
Yeah. Today I will listen in. Thank you.
Okay, so Isaac Mugabe. Do we have any other from someone? I'm not seeing any hand up. Peter, do you have something to add? We'll hear from one more person before we hand back to Doctor to take us through what we have for today. Rebecca Hajuro, can we hear from you? Rebecca, are you there?
Viola,
Okay.
I have just joined in just now. Yes, I am right here.
Okay, for those who have just joined, we are recapping. We are doing a recap of what we learned last week. You got us when others were already submitting, so wanted to hear from one more person and then hand over to Doctor. Any additions?
Roughly 10,000 years ago, likely due to climate changes and human hunting. But some believe it may have survived, possibly hidden deep within remote jungle areas, in the dense rainforests of the Amazon.
Mugisha, Charles Mugisha, let's hear from you, please.
Describe it as walking upright on
Okay.
two legs, toppling trees, flipping over canoes.
What did you learn last week?
Maybe I can again chip in.
Okay, please. All right.
Yeah, there was this other concept that we learned. Why do we hire consultants? And just give an example from where I work. We normally hire external consultants, but also work with the internal short-term consultants as well. So in most cases, we rely so much on the recommendations because they are considered to be independent, and so the recommendations are normally taken into consideration compared to an evaluation that is being done by an external by the internal staff. So once they have done an evaluation within a company, we normally come up with what we call management response. And so all the recommendations that are provided in the report, you make sure that you come up with the response, categorizing them into like short term, medium term, and long term. And so from time to time, you ensure that you reflect back to see whether part of the management response to the recommendations by the consultant, whether they are implemented or not. So that's what I wanted to add. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Peter. I think for now we'll stop there, but I would request all of us next time as we join, let's revise and be able to contribute. So now we take this chance to welcome Doctor to take us through the session for today. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you so much. Who has not contributed? Do you have anybody who has not contributed? Anybody who has not contributed?
Yes, Doctor. I have not contributed. This is my first time.
Please, you contribute. Say something. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my colleague in the call. Good evening. My name is Atian from South Sudan. Actually, this is my first lecture to attend this lecture because in the timetable it was indicating other days. But thanks to my colleague, I was able to find the time for the timetable for the lecture for this class. Yeah, for consultancy, as my colleague has previously have mentioned, yeah, consultants, of course, for some organizations are given more value than even the internal staff. And so when a consultant says or write an opinion, it is sometimes taken more valid by the company than the company staff themselves making a recommendation. Yeah. Yes. But yes, consultancy is important in the individual aspect, as my colleague has put it, because as a consultant, you can come up with your own business plan and make it as a business of your own. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is that a quack?
It's
That
Mogisha. Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. We decided to have these classes on Thursday evenings because they had all been abandoned on Sundays from 2 to 4. And yet really it was very unfair that I can handle 4 classes the same day. That would mean I would begin teaching from 8 in the morning up to 8 in the evening, which is very unrealistic. So we decided to shift it on Thursdays. That's the reason why we have decided to shift it on a Thursday evening. So I might not be able to move up to the late times that we normally push, because last time we pushed beyond 10. I think we shall have it maybe up to 9, so that you can allow me to prepare for the graduation. I'm going to be the director of ceremonies tomorrow for this specific graduation, which is scheduled tomorrow. Do we have anybody here graduating tomorrow? Maybe with a PGD or even a master's? I don't know. Anybody graduating tomorrow?
I'm not seeing any hand.
No hand. Okay.
I'm graduating tomorrow.
Hey, you raise your hand.
You're graduating tomorrow. Have you gotten the gown?
Yes, I have the gown.
Oh, that's great. So you're graduating with a PGD?
Yes.
Yeah, because you cannot graduate with a master's when you're in this class. These are the last modules we use for graduation.
Congratulations.
So,
I see
yeah.
Isaac as well. Isaac is graduating as well.
Oh, Isaac is also graduating. Isaac, congratulations.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Yeah, so tomorrow I will be one of your director of ceremonies, and I think I love the job they have given me. So you remember you're supposed to observe the SOPs. I hope you people know that there is Ebola everywhere, especially in Congo. And one Ugandan has already joined his ancestors, and there are others who have been isolated. So I think we might continue with this Zoom-related, classes. The contrary. So colleagues, I don't know whether you're able to see my slides.
Yes.
It's hanging, but I tend to make a presentation up to 9, because we started by 7 and many of you were not yet on the call. And we decided that we recap. So colleagues, this is a very interesting module, consultants skills. And we are being told that for you to be a consultant, you must have skills, you must have knowledge, you must have right attitude. That's why people will come to you. But if you don't have the knowledge in that particular area, nobody will come to you. So we donate what I would call knowledge, skills, in order to improve a lot in our workplaces, but also in other organizations. And there are people who are paid for this. For some of you are new, I work as a dentist, and in most cases, I don't entertain walking in patients, because whoever comes to me must be on appointment. There's a time when I used to give appointments to guys from the US, and when they come, I'll tell them, in the US, in the UK, you people take 6 months to see a dentist, but here you are seeing me in hours, and they would get a service. I remember working on 3 persons from the US, and I would do a root canal therapy after a very 6 months. And you can imagine the cost that I would charge them, together with their transport charges, the flight and so forth, would still be cheaper, meaning it's very, very expensive to see a dentist in UK and the US. But that's not important. What we're trying to say here is that when you're an expert, people will always come to look for you. You don't go looking for them. So people come looking for you. That's why this specific module is very, very important. This is hanging. I don't know why. I hope I can reshare the screen, or I can get another attachment so that I can reshare a better one. Consultancy skills. Consultancy skills. Consultancy skills. Consultancy skills. But are you progressing? Okay. Like this is hanging, but trying to see what I can do to reshare the slides. Just hang on there. On there. Consultancy skills development. Yes. Are you able to see this screen?
Yes.
Yes, Doctor.
Okay.
I can see.
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, thank you. So what we have been recapping basically, colleagues, is Unit 1. And for our brother who has just come in, we looked at Unit 1. Normally, the history of management consultancy, I don't go in for that. You people will be able to read about it. I want us to go to Unit number 2, the role of management consultancy, which we also handled. And we talked about expert role, service role, and collaborative role. And I think I can just pick it from here. When you talk about the expert role, we said that if you are somebody who has got expertise in something, for instance, I do dentistry, what you are supposed to be doing is you look at the class of what you're supposed to be doing, and the class is described at what behavior exhibited by the client and the consultant. So you as a client, because I'm an expert, you are inactive, meaning you will not participate. If I'm telling you something, yours is to listen because it is me who knows what I'm telling you about. You don't know anything. So you will have to be in inactive what? Stage or phase. And take for instance, you have gone or you have come to a consultant. He is the one with the knowledge. She could be the one with the skill and the right attitudes of what we are discussing about. You will allow him or her to tell you what exactly he wants to tell you. Then with you will be listening in order to understand, taking notes, because ideally at the end of the day, you need the knowledge because the person is an expert. If the person tells you to lie down, you lie down. If they tell you to close your eyes, you close your eyes. Although there are some people who are very unethical. I remember, I think a radiographer who told his client, I think she was a pregnant lady, and he told her to close her eyes, watch there. Meanwhile, the man was unzipping his trouser and was approaching the lady from behind. Those are not experts. Very unethical guy. So we're not talking about those ones. So, of course, sometimes, much as we are inactive, as clients, you can also ask questions. What exactly is going on? That's why in most cases you people ask us questions after the class, even during the class. So a consultant is the one who determines the needs. He or she gathers data. He or she makes decisions. He or she is the one who plans and implements changes. That is what consultants do. What do I mean? There is a problem which requires a decision to be made. These persons will always ensure that they make decisions based on the evidence that they have gathered. That's what they do. They ensure that they help you make a decision based on the information that has been, gotten from, say, the issue that you'll have shared. So therefore, if a consultant is the one who determines needs, gathers data and makes decisions, then ideally at the end of the day, they also implement changes. But now the changes that are going to be implemented are going to depend on the data that was gathered. And the decisions that are going to be made will be the right decisions to make your organization, the project, the program better. That's what it means. So you ought to get this very well. Get it very well such that we know what experts really do. If you're an expert, what role you play. Very important. So you realize that in consultancy practice, the consultant does not simply give advice. No. They don't give advice. Why? Because they will not have gotten evidence. Therefore, they will advise you according to the evidence that they will have gathered. And that's why they collect data, they analyze data, then this data, they tell us data speaks, they make decisions, and they will actually be able to tell you, you have to change, and the changes should be from this to that. I want to give you an example. Like if a school is performing poorly, a consultant first defines and identifies the actual needs of the school, such as low teacher motivation, weak supervision, poor lesson planning, or even inadequate learning materials. So the consultant then gathers data through interviews, questionnaires, observation, maybe checklists, and review of the school performance record. Then after that, they will do the analysis of the data. Then the consultant makes informed decisions on what should be done or changed. If the findings show that poor performance is mainly caused by weak supervision and maybe limited teacher support, then the recommendation changes may include strengthening the supervision, conducting teacher training, improving what we call the lessons monitoring, and also creating regular performance review meetings. Right now, we all know, for some of you come from Uganda, the performance of teachers, whether primary or secondary, is not very good, especially for the arts teachers. Why? Because they are not motivated. And the motivation is basically because government decided to pay the scientists. So you can imagine you went to the same schools and you took the same period of time, if it is 2 years or 3 years or 5 years studying, but your colleague is being paid 4 million, with you get 500,000, will you be motivated and yet go to the same markets? Ugandan schools have opened and people have started taking their children to school. I think beginning tomorrow, they are taking their children to school. But when you're taking your child to school, they are not going to ask you whether you are a scientist, a policeman, a prisons officer, army officer or not. They are only going to ask you, is this your child? Yes. Have you paid the requirement? This is the requirement list. That's what they will ask you. Therefore, colleagues, taking that expert role and the participant client role who is not active, we ought to understand that the expert will make changes. They will implement changes depending on the data collected. So this one normally ensures that the decisions made are not based on the guesswork. No, because the expert will have already collected the data, will have analyzed it, and he knows where the problem is. But again, we need to understand that for you to be able to make these changes, the changes should be able to improve the performance of that school, or the organization, the project, the program. Therefore, In short, I want to say that a consultant identifies the need. He gathers evidence, he analyzes the situation, but then he has to recommend the right actions and the support implementation such that the organization improves. That is one of the roles that consultants perform. So there is expert role, then we also have the service role. So with the service role, colleagues, I want us to understand this very well. When you talk about the service role, here, you know, the client is the one who determines the needs. He gathers what I would call the data, then he makes decision, but he plays a role of planning and implementing changes. I want to give you an example. If I have a wedding party, if it's wedding, I'm the one to tell you, you are a service provider, yes. You are an expert in making, yes, in making, say, I want you to bake a cake for me. I'm the one to tell you what kind of cake I want, yes. What colors, yes. What tent the cake will be put, yes. The size of the cake, I'm the one to determine. It is not you as a consultant. You as to listen and listening good. I remember last year, I was a chairman of somebody's wedding, and this lady was getting wedded, was from my village, but now the guy was actually wedding her. It was a customary marriage, not a wedding. He's from my place of work. And by that time, I was the HR. And we were working together in the HR office in the Uganda Police Health Services. So he told me, I've sighted some beautiful girl in your village, but I'm fearing to engage the parents. Is it okay if you did it for me? So when it came to the time when we were taking the dowry, you know, I was playing a role of coordinating, because this gentleman is a friend and also a boss. He was one rank ahead of me. In the forces, we use ranks, not titles per se. So he was a rank ahead of me, and I took him like a boss, but a colleague wanted to make me his best man. I told him, no, I cannot become your best man when I'm the chairman again of the function. So his wife in the making, this lady had contacted a consultant. There are those guys who bring tents, and they are the ones who even sometimes bring the chairs. They make a number of arrangements, colors, where to put what, where people will sit, that kind of thing. But ideally, at the end of the function, this lady, who was actually a bride, she was not happy with what had happened. So she started directing some of us. Actually, I was among the people she was directing, that we should arrest the woman. I told her, excuse me, I want you to know my role here. I'm even the chairman of this. If you want to arrest these people because they have not done a good job, do it when I've left. Why? Because they felt the services of this person were not good. Therefore, they wanted to pay her half. I don't know whether the cake was not nyamable, palatable. I don't know, because I'm not a fan of cakes. Being a dentist, you not bring a cake. I will always pretend to pick the smallest, but sometimes I may not even eat it. So the lady was very annoyed. I don't know how they handled it, but service role is basically about the person who is benefiting from your services will be the one to dictate on what they want. Yes? Then the consultant is going to be listening. At one point in time, I had a function, I think 2023. I had a function, I had a Thanksgiving function. And for my achievements in life, you know, some of you want normally to celebrate us when we are dead. So I invited a bishop never came. He sent a representative. And in that function, There was somebody who was supposed to have prepared food for the bishop. The bishop does not eat fresh meat. He eats mukalu. Mukalu is smoked meat in Batoro. I don't know whether we have a mutoro here. So smoked meat is what he takes. Mushrooms like that. So I hired the lady, and the lady wanted to begin putting peanuts. I mean, frying cooking oil. I said, no, this man does not eat cooking oil. So please don't attempt. Just boil and put peanuts paste. So I was actually giving the consultant in the cooking the instructions. Then I remember going with somebody from Exodus police. The man was telling me, I want sugar. I want this. And the man ended up taking my sugar. They are cooks in the Exodus. And I bought a 50 kilogram a sack. I don't know how sugar is used for marinating meat. So the man never used it. So my cousin saw the man putting the sugar in one of, I used a police band for the function. So they put it under the bus there. Said, this man is a thief. So I kept quiet. When I came back, I told him, you man, you decided to steal my sugar. I'm going to deduct the money from the man I should have paid you for cooking. And that's what I did. So I had to cost how much sugar was. So by so doing, I determined the needs, I gathered data, I made decisions, and I planned for the implementation of the changes. So the cooking for the bishop was basically meat, which is smoked. So that's the data I gathered. I made a decision that we should put dinner space, nothing else. So the plan was that should bishop come, he will be served alone, maybe with some other priests, and it should be nuns to serve him, not anybody else. So you, the consultant, you listen to me and listen good. I give you instructions. And that's what happens. I don't know whether we have people from Sudan here, South Sudan. Anybody from South Sudan here? Yeah, Lobojo Alfred Emmanuel. Thank you. I don't know whether I will be right. I'm told you people, not you, but in your communities, especially those who are not exposed. When the lecturer goes there, so many guys have told me, you go and lecture from there and you ask questions. Understand, those fellas will say, excuse us. Yes, much as we are here to get knowledge from you, you don't ask us questions. Why did we pay you? I don't know whether Lobojo, that is right. So that when I come to South Sudan, I'll just come and pour knowledge and I just leave. I'll not be asking questions. So somebody told me how this guy started cocking their guns and said, we paid you money in order for you to come here and you teach us. Why are you asking us questions? Why did we pay you our money? So understand that's what happened in South Sudan. Lobojo, is that true or false? Because I wanted to use that as an example of a service role.
Yeah, that one is partially true, like 10 or 15%.
Or 15%, those are guys who are not exposed. So basically, that's what happens. So since that one is 15%, let me use mine of 100%. In Teso, when you come to Teso and you won't take any girl or marry her, we don't care how many ties you come wearing, but we shall tell you the number of cows and we shall determine that my daughter is very beautiful, whether she has gone to school or not. You're supposed to pay a minimum of 10 cows. But in Uganda here, understand it's different. You just come with some few mushrooms and you put them in a small, what are they called, baskets. Then if it's a cow, you put it in a fuso and you drive it there. It's okay in Uganda because they say they don't sell their daughters. But in Teso, you'll have to pay some good cows. So it means you will come, but we shall let you understand this. But anyhow, that may not be very much relevant. I want you to know that service role is about a person benefiting from service to tell you exactly their terms of reference. I want you also to know, maybe this is another example, I quite often use borders, especially They call them safe border. I have an app. So sometimes they are quick at getting their elements and giving it to me. I tell them, no, I'm not going to use your element. I have mine. I want you to understand that. Then I will tell them, pass here. Don't pass where you want to pass. So I'll give you my terms of reference. Even sometimes I ask them if they have riding permits. If you don't have a riding permit, I will not sit on your chair. I mean, on your border. And sometimes I ask them, now we have Ebola in Uganda. I will ask you if at all you have a hand sanitizer. And sometimes when I realize that when you are riding, you are not steady, I will tell you, excuse me, sir, stop here. And you will stop, and I will get down. And after getting down, I will not pay you, I will get another one. I don't know whether it's good manners or bad manners, but I'm telling you that I determine the needs that I need. And I'm the one who gathers the data and I make decisions. And sometimes I make plans and also implement those changes. Today, I was seeking for somebody's expertise. There are these people who sell building materials. So I bought some items from hardware. And you know, these people sometimes, you can also tell them that, yes, I need these things, but you must give me transport. If the person refuses to give you transport, I can decide to leave. I go to another person and you'll stay there. Uganda right now, many people are struggling. I don't know about you. Some of you are not Ugandans. People struggle actually getting 5 shillings. You just have to kneel down and begin praying that the money comes. Getting 1,000 shillings for you to be able to eat is also terrible. So what basically saying, I can decide to enter to a restaurant and tell you, excuse me, I'm not going to eat this. What I'm going to eat is this, so please remove this. Those days when I was still a very ignorant man, I could go to Owino Market. Owino Market is just next to where I'm making these presentations from. My father and my aunties used to work in Kisenyi. They were selling marwa. So I would sneak and go to a restaurant. Sugar would be there at my disposal, and I would make sure I can pour as much as I can. I didn't know that was disease, and these people would not complain. So I've given you my money. Why don't I take all the sugar? That kind of thing. So colleagues, having said that, a service role person determines everything. They dictate on what they want. They give you their terms of reference. Therefore, you, the consultant, you play in active participation. That's what it means. How about the collaborative one? The collaborative one, colleagues, both the client and the consultant, you actively participate. You both say, let's sit down. What did you say? That, you know, I want to construct a house. The house I want to construct is a flat, 2 levels. But as I want this, but like there is a slope here. What do we do? You will give his advice, then I also bring in my ideas. Yes? Like yesterday I was looking at somebody's, structure. We're taking materials in one of the sites I'm constructing. So we left a little late. Then I was trying to compare. There are these blocks. They call them 9-9. They are hollow inside. So I brought my constructors from Teso, and I'm developing somewhere within Kampala here, so that when things become very tough in Teso, I can stay in Buganda. When things become tough in Buganda, I can go to Teso. So sometimes it's not very good for you to put all your eggs in one basket. So you spread. Yeah, so I wanted to say, these guys were telling me, doctor, if you are to put your fence, don't use the fence like the other one. I said, why? He said, the blocks are good. They will raise the house very fast, but they are hollow inside. So you can't even drive in a nail there. But what you are using is okay. Burnt bricks are better. So I learned that because they were giving me ideas. So therefore, client and consultant, you sit down actively and you determine the needs, you gather data together, and make decisions together, make plans together, and implement changes together. That's what it means. Colleagues, consultants have got styles. Consultants have got styles. And the styles that the consultants have is what we call a stabilizer, a cheerleader, analyzer, a persuader. Yes, these are great. Because if somebody tells you that consultants have got styles, a stabilizer, a cheerleader, analyzer, and a persuader, these are good. And sometimes we need to have, examples in this. Okay, please. Okay, thank you. You realize that I want to give you an example. I'm a Catholic and a practicing Catholic. And I go to a place called Kibeho 3 times in a year. And now that we are not going to have Matters Day in Uganda on 3rd, on 6th, I will be going to Kibeho. Kibeho is in Rwanda. Do we have anybody who comes from Rwanda here? Anybody from Kigali, Rwanda? Okay. So I received a call, and some group said that, doctor, sometimes we want you to move with us, not because of anything, but when you are with us, you are a cheerleader. Everybody, loves sitting in the bus when you are within. Said, okay, I didn't know. So they were talking about me being a cheerleader. You make everybody laugh, people enjoy, and you also, a person who motivates, you persuade, that kind of thing. I'm a student in Cavendish University. I'm doing a master's degree in security studies. And there was hello, Malane. Yokuna Rejo, Director of Ceremonies, Jokuna Betanga Jautungi Namoi. Have you gotten already a program for tomorrow? Because I needed that. I have a class right now running. After this class, I wanted to go through it. Yes. Ibodiriam no nara kutenga nyoni by 6. Ibodiriam. 6 is too early. Okay, 6:30. If you can leave at 6:30, I mean at 6:30, I don't know. If you could be in town by 6:30, is that okay? Grand Imperial, Shell, Grand Imperial. Where's that Shell exactly? Grand Imperial, yes. Next to High Court. Yes, I know that one. It's okay. Yes. I pick you from Sheraton. Sheraton is near State House there. Those guys are normally stubborn. So Sheraton, there is this other gate facing State House. Down towards the conference center, Nile Hotel. Okay, that's fine. That's okay, 6:30, we shall pick you from there. Put on a coat, I will find you there. I intend to use a police driver. I don't want to drive. It's okay, that's fine. I don't know whether Torino is okay, but I think he was saying, I don't know. We can meet in Torino, no worries. Torino is next to Lugogo. Lugogo, you remember one time you dropped me around that petrol station there. There is a restaurant there of the Chinese. What is it called? Yes, there is a place around that area. Torino is around that area. Lugogo. Yes. That is okay. That is okay. Okay, Ayalama, 6:30, I will pick you from Sheraton. No worries. Ebo. You tell these people to send me a program. If they can send it by email, that's okay. I need to plan. Thank you. Get me 1,000 shillings there for this guy. He has helped me polish my shoes. Get me 1,000. Yes. Our colleagues, sorry about that. These are my bosses. We're trying to plan how we can move tomorrow. So we're saying consulting has got styles, and we have got a stabilizer. And I was saying a consultant may use different styles depending on the situation. This included the stabilizer, a cheerleader, analyzer, and a persuader. Colleagues, you realize that a stabilizer helps to calm the situation, restore order, and bring direction when the client or organization is facing confusion. Yes, and maybe even the conflicts or even crisis. But a cheerleader motivates, encourages, and builds confidence among the client and the team members, especially when they feel discouraged or resistant to change. But with an analyzer, they study the problem carefully, they gather data, they examine evidence, they identify gaps, and also do the recommendations and make solutions based on the facts rather than assumptions. Then we also have got the persuaders. A persuader, they use the communication, they use evidence and professional influence to convince the client or the stakeholder to accept and support necessary changes. Like I was giving you an example that I happen to be a student of a Cavendish student of security studies. I think I've told you quite openly. Maybe some guys may not know. I'm a policeman. Some of you tomorrow will see me maybe on a police uniform, but I think I will not love to put on it. But I felt I needed something. When you say that guy is a police officer, I needed to have some skills as a police officer. So I decided to go and do another master's degree in security studies. Now, we normally go to places like Mlago Hospital and we go to examine the bodies, dead bodies. And of course, some people will not even eat meat for weeks, for months, that kind of thing. So we had done it in the previous semester. Now this semester, they were having new students. So the lecturers were telling me that, doctor, we just request you to be part of this class, even if you don't pay, because we're paying some money. I think something like 200,000. Yes, for you to be able to attend that. With you, doctor, you don't pay, but just be there, because whenever you are there, your fellow students will actually be there. So with them, they were taking me as a persuader, but I told them no. I'm supposed to be a cheerleader somewhere. Then said, which cheerleader? I said, I'm going to Kibeho. And those people will not go when I'm not there. And many people will say, doctor, if you have not paid, I'm not also going. Like I've told you, since we don't have Namgongo, Assad, June, they have postponed it because of Ebola, and we already have a victim who died of Ebola, and we have got one person, I think, who's isolated. And even tomorrow, I was telling the university we need to ensure that we observe the SOPs, Ebola, also when I'm going to be the director of ceremonies. So we agreed that we shall make students, the graduates, sit. You stretch your arm in front, a space, then put another chair, stretch on the left, a space, put another chair, stretch on the right, a space, put another chair, stretch behind, a space, put another chair, meaning one arm. That's the range. And I was challenging guys I went to get a line in the this is Airtel, and I told the manager there, I challenged her. I told her, Madam, I'm your client, but I'm observed. You guys are not observing SOPs here, and this might be a problem. He said, how did you come to get to understand it? I told her, I've made the analysis. The few minutes I've been here, people are entering, they are not sanitizing, they are not washing hands, and yet they keep touching everywhere. They are crowded, and there's this business of, having those numbers. Then they call me. I didn't sit because I realized people were crowded. I went direct to the line. When they tried to challenge me, I told them, excuse me, I've not done it, not because I'm bad-mannered, but I don't like the way you're crowded here. Later on, everybody started moving, and they started looking at this man, said, who is this man? The man who was following me behind was a medical doctor. Then I told him I'm a doctor as well, and I wanted us to do some work here. He said, you man, you have analyzed the situation here. How did you do that? I said, I'm a consultant. So colleagues, generally, I wanted to say that we ought to agree that a good consultant must know when to stabilize, when to encourage, when to analyze, and when to persuade. The best style depends on the client. And normally, the client needs are the ones that make us do what we do. It also depends on the problem being addressed and also the change expected. If I go tomorrow to the university for the graduation, then I see somebody is having a bleeding nose, I will scatter and run away. Why? Because I will have already done the analysis that Ebola is around, and I will call a certain number and make sure that, there is peace and harmony, because we need to be vigilant. So colleagues, this is very important for us to understand. Having said that, a selection of a consultant will depend on the basis of many things. For you to have a consultant, you ought to look at issues to do with the skills, yes, and competences. Those are guidelines for selecting a consultant. Relevant industry experience, very important. But also adherence to the ethics and standards, very important. Availability in terms of when I come, will I find you? It's very important. So colleagues, these are issues that I want you to understand and get it very well. I don't know whether my slides are being seen.
Yes, we're seeing you,
Am I
Doctor.
loud and you are using my slides?
Yes.
Yes, Doctor.
Thank you
You're
so
loud
much.
and
So
seeing
this is key and very, very important. So colleagues, when you say relevancy of industry or the skills, we can begin talking about, issues to do with technical competence. That's the skills. I want us to look at example like if an organization wants to conduct a staff performance evaluation, the consultant should know how to design questionnaires, how to conduct interviews, how to analyze data, write reports, and make practical recommendations. So it is not enough for the person to be well spoken. No, when they do not know what to speak about. So they must also have the technical ability to do the work. For instance, colleagues, tomorrow I will be the director of ceremonies. If you are going to make a master of ceremony from your village where they are good at, mastering issues to do with I normally see the way people do the ceremonies here, like they call it introduction, where you see somebody dancing, then he moves around, then the maiden comes, then the groom comes, they make everybody dance. Then there is an MC, the man talks like anyhow, he's drinking, the saliva is flowing from left to the center to the right. So those people may be good masters of ceremonies, but they may not be technical in the presentations or managing events, say in a university. So it is therefore very important for us to know that the skills may be there, but the competence may not be there. I will give an example. We used to have a lady. This lady was a very beautiful girl. And later on we got to know that even the instructors were falling in love with her. And she eventually got her papers and became a dentist like us. But whenever I meet her, I ask her, are you now competent enough to extract a tooth? That lady was too beautiful to remove any tooth. Did she have the knowledge? Yes. Did she have the skill? Yes. Did she have the competencies? No. Why? Because every tooth she extracts, she would break it. Why? Because she did not know the technique of extracting the teeth. But because she was a beautiful girl, she ended up getting the paper like us. But I don't know how she's managing. Because honestly speaking, extraction of a tooth, anybody can remove it. But this lady was breaking it. Why? Because she did not have the competencies. So it is something that we ought to understand. It is one thing to have a skill, it's another to have a competency. So colleagues, this is very, very important. And when we talk about competence, it's about technical competences. Then the relevance of the industry, for instance, colleagues, this is very important. And I want to give this as an example that if a hospital wants to improve patients' waiting time, for instance, it should select a consultant, which consultant who understands the health sector very well. Yes. For instance, yesterday, was it the other day, they called me, the DVC called me and told me, Doctor, as always, you are going to be the master of ceremonies. I corrected him. I told him masters of ceremonies are in the villages. Here I'm going to be a director of ceremonies. He laughed. Then he told me you are supposed to be the person to take us through the program, blah, blah. You could have actually monitored. I was telling the principal they should send me the program, because after this, I wanted to go through it so that I understand what I want. So there was an issue of getting permission. They didn't know that for you to conduct a graduation ceremony, you need to get the permission from Inspector General of Police. And it should be in written. Should be in writing, and they should be able to give you a go-ahead. And you start from down, going up, but when the permission is given, it comes from up. That was one thing. But I also told them, much as we have that, I also need to confirm with the Minister of Health that we can actually have this ceremony go through. And I told them, if the Minister of Health says there's no ceremony going to take place, graduation, I'll go by that, because these are my bosses. I belong to 3 different ministries. I'm in education and sports because I'm in this class, teaching you what a consultant should be. But I'm not a teacher, but by default, I'm one, because I'm able to explain these things. You may bring a teacher here and does not explain these things. These are the issues of relevancy. But ideally, I told them I also belong to Ministry of Health. So epidemiology department, I was able to consult them and I told them send me the soaps for Ebola. And they managed to do the SOPs sent to me. I sent to the university and I gave them the guidelines. And I told them these are the guidelines. If we are ready to behave, the graduation will take place. If it's not, it will not take place. So they also asked me how many students were graduating. And I told them, Watamu is basically an online university. And most of our students are going to be online. We shall have very few who will represent others here, like 100. Then maybe some few staffs and some few parents to represent other parents. And our chief guest, who is going to be, I think, either judge. Yes, I think a retired judge. Then we shall have a chancellor. And then the other persons, including myself. So they gave me all these guidelines. So I became a consultant to the university. I'm also told there is a nurse. So I will guide this nurse. And I also told them maybe the graduation, depending on how many students we are going to have, when we realize there are many, we're not going to have it in the quadrangle at all. No, we shall have it outside in the open place. Reasons are that we ought to respect the SOPs. You stretch your arm on the left and put another chair there. Stretch on the right, put another chair there. Stretch in front, another chair. Stretch by like that. So tomorrow in the morning, that's how I was telling the principal, we must go early because the sitting arrangement alone, I'm going to dictate how people are going to sit. Because if we are not going to observe that, then we might have to sit in the open place. But also security, I'm also the head of security. I have to deploy those police officers very well. Sit here, hand washing, nobody should go inside without washing their hands. When we see you are sweating like a pig, we shall tell you to move out. Why are you sweating? When we see you are bleeding, I will call the ambulance and you are taken to isolation center. That's what we are talking about, colleagues. How about the third point? What we call adherence to professional standards. Colleagues, this is very key. And I have just mentioned this. Adherence. If we are going to have a graduation tomorrow and you don't adhere to the ethical standards that have been generated, then the graduation will not take place. So here, I must say, if a consultant is hired, you have to review recruitment practices. They must remain objective and confidential. They should not leak staff information, favor certain individuals, or even change findings because management wants a particular answer. You know, a good consultant tells the truth professionally. That's what we ought to understand. How about availability and reliability? I want to give you an example. You know, if a university, say like Utamu, hires a consultant to support the curriculum review, that consultant must be available for the meetings. Document review must also always be there. Stakeholder engagement should always be there, and even follow-up. But if the consultant is always absent or delays the feedback, then the assignment may fail. That's what we ought to understand, colleagues. But there are so many others, including communication skills, by the way. So the communication skills is also very important because the communication skills, for example, a consultant working with a school should be able to explain findings clearly to teachers, administrators, parents, and even the board of members. Yes? So good ideas may fail if the consultant cannot communicate them well. So colleagues, it's very key for us to understand this. Ability to deliver practical results. For example, if a project hires a consultant to improve monitoring and evaluation, the final output should not only be a beautiful report. No, it should include usable tools such as indicators, reporting the templates, data collection forms, and a clear implementation plan. So, colleagues, we ought to understand that when selecting a consultant, we should always ask questions such as, does this person understand our sector? Are they competent? Are they ethical? Are they available? Can they communicate well? And can they deliver practical results? This is very important. So, this is now what you ought to understand, colleagues. Let's look at the qualities of a good consultant. For you to be a good consultant, you should be intelligent. There's what we call intellectual ability. And intellectual ability is defined as, a person who is able to learn quickly and easily. A person who is able to observe, gather, select, and evaluate facts. A person should be able to have good judgment, inductive and deductive reasoning, ability to synthesize and, be able to generalize. This is very important. I'm saying for you to be a good consultant, you must have good qualities. Qualities of a consultant are that you should be having intellectual ability. That means and includes ability to learn quickly and easily, ability to observe, gather, select, and evaluate facts, good judgment, yes, inductive and deductive reasoning, and also ability to synthesize and, generalize things. That's what we're trying to say. So this is very key, colleagues. Very, very key, and we ought to understand this very well. So if somebody tells you that, I'm an intelligent man, these are the things you need to look at. You are intelligent, that yes. And you're a consultant, yes. But why are you slow in making decisions? You see? So this is what we ought to understand. So the example, for instance, if I can give you one of them, when talk ability to learn quickly and easily. For instance, if a consultant is invited to a hospital to improve patient service delivery, they may not know all the internal systems on the first day. No. However, a good consultant quickly learns how patients move from reception to the consultation room, to the laboratory, to the pharmacy, and discharge. So this helps the consultant to understand the problem faster and advise correctly. But when you talk of ability to observe facts, these are colleagues. For example, in a school, a consultant may observe that, teachers report late, learners are not supervised during prep time, and lesson plans are not regularly checked. So this observation helps the consultant to understand why academic performance may be poor. But again, ability to gather facts, colleagues, is very important. Gathering facts. For example, if a project is failing, the consultant gathers facts through interviews, questionnaires, financial records, so on and so forth. But all this is very important. But again, when you talk about good judgment, for instance, if an organization has financial challenges, a consultant should not recommend expensive reforms immediately. No, don't do that. Good judgment would require suggesting affordable and practical solutions that the organization can manage. Then the inductive reasoning. For example, if a consultant visits 5 departments and finds poor record keeping in all of them, they may conclude that the organization has a general records management problem. Colleagues, this is very important. But again, we can look at what we call deductive reasoning. For example, if a good procurement practice, requires transparency, competition, and proper documentation, the consultants can examine one procurement case and determine whether these principles were followed. This is very important. But again, we can look at the ability to think clearly and generalize. For example, colleagues, after studying the complaints from the staff, clients, and managers, a consultant may identify a general pattern. Poor communication is affecting performance across the whole organization. That is ability to synthesize and generalize. So, colleagues, intellectual ability helps a consultant to understand situations quickly, gather facts properly, reason correctly, recommend solutions, and also practically be able to have this done in evidence format. Colleagues, this is very important. Of course, there are so many others, ability to understand people and work with them. You know, they normally tell us that we need to have what we call the 3 R's in management: respect for yourself, respect for others, and responsibility for whatever you do. That is in management. I know some of you have learned HR. No, you need to respect people. Nobody is going to respect you if you don't respect them. So respect yourself first, then you respect others, then people will respect you. But if you don't respect yourself, you'll have issues. So colleagues, ability to anticipate and evaluate human reactions is very, very important. So this is key, and we are talking about ability to understand people and work with them. So there are people who are generally very difficult in a manner that you cannot work with them. You know, the construction I'm doing somewhere in Wakiso as a district, I was asking a colleague to help me house my workers. I got workers from Teso, 13 of them. They are coming to roof. The other time, during Christmas time, they came and they finished the wall. Now they are going to begin roofing, and they started the activity today. So I was just requesting this colleague. He's also in the forces. And I was telling my brother, I needed to use your place to store my materials and maybe accommodate some of my workers. It is in an estate. So the man told me, you know, doctor, I'll call you back later. Up to now, the man has not called me. But later on, I got to know that the person who's the manager was managing those buildings decided to report that, no, those guys, the other time when they came, there is a way they behaved. Just because these guys cannot speak the native language, it became also an issue. So later on, you know, my wife went there and tried to ask what could be the issue. She was being told that, you know what, you need to learn to speak with people. Those parents just became very jealous because the speed of which the doctor put up the wall, nobody has done it in the estate. Now he has brought another 13 people. You know, there are 7 carpenters, then there are 6 mansions. So they are meant to push this work. So I think that's the reason why they denied. But we had to talk to another person who was able to house them and accommodated all of my materials. So we just ignored. So now I don't know how the person is going to feel that I denied that person accommodation and he managed to get another place somewhere. And they are making me annoyed. What I was pulling as a boys' quarters, I might get annoyed and put a flat. Because we need sometimes to work with people, getting to understand them, respecting them, but you move slowly. It will not be a showbiz, but you know, you try to show them that you know what you are doing is not a good thing. So colleagues, you ought to respect others, be tolerant, but also anticipate and evaluate the human reactions. Yes, when you realize that this person is going to abuse me, just apologize. Yes, just do that. Apologize and do it very fast. Yes, I've been slapped, even spat on very many times. And all what I do sometimes is get my car key and drive away. So just easy. Today in the morning, you know, I had research, innovation, and the policy unit. And I'm also in charge of a physical fitness program in our directorate. And we launched it in the Uganda Police Force a year ago. And I went just to buy some water, refreshment, and soda. And I told this lady, please, I want to take this so many cartons, so many bottles of water. And when I took these things to the place where we're supposed to have I realized that I'd taken more water and more. So I told the border guy, take these things and give it back to these people. You know? So this lady, when I came back, I told her, you know, there were some cartons of water and the soda that were brought back. The woman said, you know, if you are taking more water and more soda, you must pay. I told her, no, thank you. I'd already paid and these things have been brought back. So I decided just to come. Now the sword and the water has followed me here. I took it, I said, it's okay. If you feel I've not paid, it's okay. And that was it. So colleagues, many things that we would be able to look at, ability to communicate and persuade and motivate others, very important. Be a very good and active listener. Listening is always key, like the way you are quiet listening. You are very busy analyzing. You know, because ideally at the end of the day, that is what it's supposed to be. You can't have two facilitators. One person facilitates, others do active listening. That's what we call communication. Then ideally at the end of the day, when I tell you any questions, then you are able to ensure that you do the needful. Somebody said that a good communicator must have the seven C's. 7 C's. The first C is being concise. The second C is being complete. The third C is being correct. And the fourth C is being, you know, there's what we call, I don't know whether it's a common word in English. Considerate is one of them. Of course, that's the first one. Then the fifth one, I wanted to say, there are people who are not, you know, very conscious of what they mention. You just mention anything, anyhow, and ideally at the end of the day, those words are being used against you. I normally see in the social media, especially with public speaking, some of our managers, sometimes they even jeer. So with me, when you jeer me, I will thank you. You report me, I will thank you. There are even some people who have reported me because we shifted this class today. And I consistently mentioned this. I think it went up to my bosses, and the new VC was asking me, Doctor, what did you say? What has prompted you to transfer some classes during the week? I told him, Prof, you know, I have to be very honest with you. I'm a human being just like any other person. You know, I use a lot of energy to speak. I cannot speak from 8 to 8 in the evening. On Sunday, I have 4 classes. There's no way you can tell me that I can speak non-stop. No, I think, Prof, this is why I had to talk to the students through their leadership, and we agree that consultant skills should be pulled from 2 to 4, and we pull it on Thursdays and have it in the evening from 7. Is that wrong? Then you say, I don't know why some of these students are very controversial. I don't know whether they're also in this class. But those were the calls I got, and I was polite, and I said, Prof, even if it were you, I cannot teach 4 units in a day. You start 1. I think that is what could have been that. The first class on Sunday is the evaluation of development policies, programs, projects, and interventions from 8 to 11. Then you have not gone to church. Then maybe you can rest. And because I'm also, you know, human being, I have to get something to eat. Then from 1 at 2 o'clock, consultancy skills to 4, you can imagine. Then from 4, you're not supposed to rest. Go and do what they call the, I think, human resource development from 4 to 6. Then from 6 to 8, project management life cycle. Those are 4 modules. I want you to imagine, you guys, you are my colleagues, that I use a lot of energy to talk, and sometimes I don't rest, and there's no way anybody can correct me. When I'm teaching, that's what I do, and you may not try it and manage, because you will suffocate. So that is the way I was brought, because I was trained by the Chinese, and I could talk to like 1,000, 2,000 people. Even if you're on the mic, you feel you want to motivate others. So you don't speak as if you're in your bedroom, no. But when I'm in the bedroom, I also speak slowly, because I will want to whisper some sweet words to my wife, the romantic ones. But here, I'm clarifying a point. So colleagues, what am I trying to say? We must be this kind of people who communicate well, and we should be able also to listen well, and we should also be able to facilitate what we call oral and written communication, but also ability to share knowledge, teach, and train others. You cannot say you are facilitating, then you talk as if you are talking to your girlfriend. No. Speak and let people hear that you have spoken. Be clear. That was another thing that I wanted to mention. Be clear and being polite. These are things that we need to understand. Colleagues, we have 12 minutes to go, but most importantly, I wanted us to say that there is also another quality of being a good consultant: intellectual and emotional maturity. Yes, stability of behavior and action. Very key, you ought to understand this very well. Independence in drawing and biased conclusions. Ability to withstand pressures and also live with frustrations and uncertainties. Yes, sometimes we are frustrated. And when you are frustrated, sometimes you may mention something else. So colleagues, this is very key and very important. So know that you must have that intellectual and emotional maturity. Some people, it could even be a minister, it could even be a president, you could be, somebody holding a very powerful, office in a project, in a program, maybe even in government. But they will tell you that, that man, that one is not emotionally mature. I hope you have really had some of these fellas and we see them. They are our bosses. A boss attacks a fellow boss and you say, but now what's wrong with this one? We didn't want to hear this, but they're abusing each other. Why? Because they lack intellectual and emotional maturity. This is what we're talking about. So your frustrations, if you quarrel with your wife, with your husband, your children, you have not paid tuition, you don't show that to us. We don't want to know. Yes. So ability to act with poise, in calm and objective. Very important. How are you able to handle situations when you are confronted? How? I'll tell you, sometimes we make mistakes, even when we are presenting. And I'm being told when you're a very good MC, even when you make a mistake, don't make people understand that there's a mistake. No, don't make them understand it. Why? Because you are a consultant in that area, so you should act with poise and in a calm and objective manner. That's what we're saying. So colleagues, personal drive and initiative, right degree of self-confidence, speak with confidence. That is when the people will believe and say, yes, this is it. When I was graduating with my second PhD in 2017, to be exact, on the 28th day of October, from MAS, that's Mbara University of Science and Technology, I was given 45 minutes to be able to, make a presentation. That is what we call a Bible verse, and it was public. Many people, students, and some of them were planted just to fail some of us. So I said, these guys do not know exactly what it means. Me, first of all, I've been lecturing, I've been an instructor, and more so, when you're a policeman, also you get some other skills. So by the time when I started presenting, I just put one slide. I put one slide for 25 minutes. So they were wondering, what's wrong with this man? Why does he only put one slide? One slide, and I spoke for 25 minutes. I'm now remaining with the 20 minutes, and the other people were coming with the 60 slides. You can't present 60 slides in 45 minutes. You're lying. So some people within the panel who knew maybe this man is going to fail started signaling that I should move faster. Said, no, this is my personal drive and initiative. They didn't know I'd only made 6 slides. So by the time when I'd now moved to the second slide, I started now moving faster. And I left them with the 5 minutes. With 40 minutes, I'd already finished. And I started telling them quotations of my presentation, because my thesis was entitled Operational Risk Management and staff performance in the Kampala Metropolitan Police. Yes, because I had seen the performance of the police had gone down, and at that time they were abducting people, especially ladies, the prostitutes. They could, abuse them sexually in the places like Nansana. There's a place in Entebbe, in Namataba, Katabi, those areas, and so many other areas. People were being killed around that time. So my research was about that. So when I started talking, oh, this guy said this guy knows what he's talking about. And I was speaking on a matter where many people did not actually understand. First, I'm studying the police, and you're not police officers.
You are the guys there listening to me. So I'll talk like one. So there was that personal drive and initiative. So when you're a consultant, you should have that health ambition when you're talking. Entrepreneurial spirit. Yes. Have courage, initiative, and persuasive kind of action. That's very important. So colleagues, that's what consultants do. Ethics and integrity. I'll mention this and I'll mention it and I'll mention it and I'll mention it again. Somebody said that if wealth is gone, nothing is gone. If health is gone, something is gone. If character and integrity is gone, all is gone. We're seeing the corruption scandals in this country, and many people do not respect some people because of this. You can have the money, but if you are not ethical enough, nobody's going to respect you. So genuine desire to help others is what we need. Extreme honesty is what we need. Ability to recognize the limitation of one's competence is very important. Ability to admit mistakes and learn from your failures is also very important. So colleagues, yesterday I was looking at this lady. Normally before I sleep, it is within me because I don't go to celebrate football like a madman. I think Arsenal took the trophy. They still have a game at hand. And some lumens were moving around. I'm presenting from a clinic. I'm in a mall. And they were moving that time where I was having a meeting about our graduation tomorrow. So these lumens were coming inside. Then one said, doctor is a manual guy, don't enter there. They wanted money because they were going to do their own celebration. Some of these guys even don't know where the airport is. They are behaving like madmen, you know, genuinely. They got that money. I even don't think whether they use that money for what they really wanted it for. But having said that, colleagues, I watched a film last night. I don't think whether I can remember the title. But what happened is that a young man saw a wallet peeping, but with a lot of dollars in one of the rich man's pockets. So what this young man did, he picked that wallet, he picked $100, he put it in his pocket, then he tapped the rich man and showed him the wallet and told him, this your wallet, it had fallen down, you can have it. But besides where the wallet had fallen, there was a beggar, a woman who was disabled and needed some help. And she had put it on holding those placards and saying, help me, help me, help me. So this rich man picks one note of $100 and he picks and he gives it to the young man. What the young man does, he uses the same note because he was not appreciative. This man had a lot of dollars in the wallet. So this young man, I think, thought, apart from giving him $100, should have also given to the other beggar who was just next to him. So the young man decides to pick what he had been given, and he hands into the beggar. And this rich man sees that this young man has given the money to the beggar. I think some of these rich men, they don't want to give money to beggars. He went and picked the note and put it back in his wallet and walked away. But still wanted to watch what this boy was going to do. The boy, the money that he had stolen from this man, he also gave it to the beggar. So somebody asked the question, why wouldn't we, whom would we take as a genuine person? Of course, they were praising the young man. But to me, if you steal from the rich and take it to the poor, you also feel. So it's like having a gun. You go and rob a bank, get money, go to your community, you build a hospital, build a school, build a mosque, build a church, give money to the poor, but you have stolen. You are not ethical. Yes, and that's what many rich people do. They go and saying, you know, like when you watch the Nigerians, they even go to the extent of, you know, getting those titles. They are given the titles, Igwe, that kind of thing. And within the Igwe system, there are also some other people who are called prime ministers, and to mention but a few. But these fellas, some of them just go to buy titles. So colleagues, what do we learn from this? We ought to be extremely honest. We ought to, recognize the limitation of other people's competencies. When you realize this person is weak here, please be honest and ensure that you recognize these people's limitations. But ability also to admit that there are mistakes and learn from failure. Somebody yesterday, one of my mansions, he made me laugh that we were driving, I picked them from a bus, YY coaches, and I had other vehicles waiting for them, and I took them to the site. So he was telling me that my mother made him laugh. And he said, Doctor, I hope you'll not share this with her. He said, no, you tell me what is it exactly. He said, the old woman asked him, my mansion, actually, the site engineer is called Cooper. So he said, Cooper, do you also have dogs at your home? Then Cooper said, yes. Do they also eat chicken? Then Cooper said, no, they don't. Then the old woman, because she knows I have cameras, I normally talk to her on cameras, she started like covering her head with the, something such that the camera does not see her. But I'd already heard what she was asking. Why was she asking this? I have a police dog. That dog speaks only English. I mean, it understands only English. So if you talk to it, in that case, it will not understand. It will only understand English. But does not want anything in my compound, not even chicken. But again, that's the only thing it eats. That dog is very expensive. You make chicken, it eats chicken and turkeys, but with rice. But that's the animal food. So you have to buy from Kampala and put it in the bus and somebody receives. So the old woman got annoyed because one day, one of the chicken flew from my compound to my compound. And when it flew to the compound, the dog never killed the chicken, but it made sure it removed all its feathers and it was playing with it. So the old woman got annoyed. So I think now we're telling Cooper, now maybe my son will get annoyed. They said, no, we will not get annoyed, but this chicken also, why do they come where the dog is? So the question why she was asking, do your dogs also eat chicken? It is because this chicken, this dog managed to remove feathers from one of the chicken, moreover at night, because we release the dog at night. So when it finds anything moving, it attacks it. So colleagues, what we're trying to say here is that we need to be ethical as the consultant. We need to be people of integrity, not just a consultant by name when inside you are rotten. So colleagues, I wanted us to stop here. Our time is fast spent. It is 1 minute past 9. Next time we meet, we shall be looking at the consultancy process. Thank you so much for listening to me. I would entertain 1 or 2 questions. Then you allow me relax my voice because I'm going to speak a lot tomorrow. Thank you so much. God bless you.
God bless you too, Doctor.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks
Any question?
so much, Doctor.
Dr. Mine got a question.
Okay, Ezekiel, you can go for it. Then in case there are any announcements, I think I can make announcements. I gave you coursework. I hope you people are doing the coursework. You're supposed to be in groups and there are deadlines that we must observe. So for my other colleague who has just attended today's class, make sure you belong to a group. If I have not given you coursework, this specific group, please let me know. Joanne, go for it.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Anyway, I wanted to ask in regards to the coursework. Then another thing I just wanted to say, to give clarity, Doctor, you had said that we have lost a Ugandan, but it's not a Ugandan, it's a Congolese who had come to seek health care in Uganda.
Okay. When somebody dies in Uganda, I meant somebody has died in Uganda. We have lost 1 person in Uganda. Thank you. Joanne, are you still in the Ministry of Health? Give me those details because tomorrow I need to make those clarifications. Are you still in Ministry of Health?
Yeah, I'm there. Actually, you had come to our very department, epidemiology.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Joan. Joan, thank you so much. So the person who died is not a Ugandan, but he died in Uganda. He's a Congolese. How about the ones who are in the isolation center?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
How many are they?
No, we don't have in the isolation. We are having in quarantine. We only had one who is also still a Congolese, but others are contacts.
Yes. Oh, how many people are in the quarantine?
No, in the quarantine, we are still
Yes.
getting more. Right now, we cannot really tell the actual figure because contact tracing is happening.
Thank you so much. Joan, don't arrest us tomorrow. I'm going to be there with the police, and I'm going to make sure that we are observe the SOPs that you gave us. Thank you so much. Uka Ezekiel. Thank you so much,
Okay,
Joan. Joan was one of my class presidents. Uka, go for it.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for this evening lecture. I work in the border areas between Eritrea, Ethiopia, and Sudan. And from my field experience, I've seen how deeply the community has lost trust in many NGOs and authorities. This comes from repeated unfulfillment promises, inconsistent engagement, and assessments that never translate into real change. As an airman working in this context, my question is, how can a consultant design trust, building and data collection strategy that make communities feel safe, respected, and genuinely willing to participate openly in the assessment?
Yeah, building a trust is something which is normally very difficult. You begin building trust by ensuring that you do the right thing, not the good things. Like I have told you, and I gave you an example of somebody who's not ethical, who picks a gun and goes and robs others. Then he goes to his community and goes and begins donating, giving big monies and showing, acts of charity. It is something that sometimes people do not actually understand. So building trust is very important. But the moment you build trust as a consultant, you have to win people's hearts. Because a consultant may be hired by a university, for instance, to review why students are complaining about missing marks. I may look at this. So during the assignment, the consultant discovers that some marks were submitted late. Some lecturers did not even actually upload the results properly. And some administrative officers maybe failed to reconcile students' records. Now, if the consultant wants to look good, they may hide the real problem and write a soft report that only praises management. That may please maybe some people, but it is not right. However, if the consultant wants to build trust, like in your case that you have mentioned, you work in a border area and some people do not, trust you maybe because of the past events. So you, as a person who is a consultant, you must report the facts professionally and respectfully. Yes, you should also explain the real causes of the missing marks, for instance. But in your case of the border, you have to tell them, we had this issue, but I think this one is now okay. We don't have any issue. So the consultant may not please everyone. I want you to understand that at first. But over time, people will trust them because they are honest, they are fair, but again, they are also evidence-based and also ethical. So what I want you people to understand here is that trust is built by doing what is right, not merely what looks good. I will mention this again. Trust is built by doing the right thing. 4, a right thing is a right thing, even if nobody does it. But a wrong thing is a wrong thing, even if every other person does it. I don't know whether I've been able to answer you. Have I?
Yes, you have answered me. It's good.
Okay. I think I can
Thank you so much.
entertain 2 more. Komakech, go for it.
Yes, Doctor, thank you so much. Ezekiel actually had a portion of my submission, but to add on a bit, I have seen several times, especially in the development world, intervention. Find consultants get contracts, and then at some point they end up not delivering to their expectations. That's why so many consultants, many of them don't even really get another one, despite the fact that there are certain other unethical behaviors within the development as well. Now, Doctor, I want to submit a bit the qualities that you've given us. In most cases, like in our individual day-to-day life, wherever we are, like for me, a case in point, I want just to give my practical examples of the service delivery, wherever I'm requesting for any service. For me, if I'm maybe going on a border, and if I get a drunkard border, I will not maybe book board because I know the risks and dangers that are associated too. And then somebody who is extremely badly dressed up, who is smelly, I cannot really get into such a person. So what you have guided us is really real life, and then it's true. Those are the things that we have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dennis. We really need to understand that these qualities, we need to stick to them. We have many people in our communities who behave the way they behave because they were not able to sit in some of these classes. But I also want you to understand that it is also one thing to sit in this class, but it's another thing for you to be able to pick a skill and their competence. Because some people just come here to sit in class just to be seen, getting a paper, and when you tell them, excuse me, sir, did you also go to school? That yes. What profession? He tells you the profession, but the person is ethically wrong. So colleagues, we all practice what we get from our class and take it to the field. Thank you so much, Dennis, for bringing that up. Peter Mariol Wall, your hand is up. You can go for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor, and good evening, everyone. I wanted to, mine is not a question, but to give a response to my brother who's working at the border point where communities lost trust in the work that humanitarian organizations are doing in regards to frequent data collection. I think you are not alone in that field. Are you getting me? Am I being heard?
Yeah, you are loud and clear, Peter. Peter, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you. So basically, when communities have a you've been collecting data frequently. Basically, what you need to do is to to be objective in your data collection efforts. You can also you need to explain why you are doing collecting data from time to time. And you also need to give them feedback every time you have collected data. And also you don't need to promise them when you are collecting data from them. Like you say, this data will be used to to support your household. Once you promise them, next time you come, they will not give you the information that you want. The other thing to take note of is to engage with the local communities to also help you in your data collection. And lastly, you also need to make use of secondary data because some data collections are just meant for reporting and they are not meant for decision making. So in that regard, you need to weigh options like, do you really need to go to the community and collect this data? Or you just need to use secondary data to be able to report to your donors. So those are some of the ways that you can reduce trust when you are working in communities where data collection happens from time to time. Thank you. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you so much, Peter. Peter, I think yours was not a question. Basically, you were trying to substantiate on what I'd already given. I think that is fine. we really ought to do still is the right thing. Do a right thing. Don't collect data from under the mango tree. Collect the actual data and defend the results. If people get to understand that you are a very ethical person, everybody will respect you, even those ones who never respected you. So it begins with the respect for yourself and also ensuring that what you report is genuinely reported. Otherwise, if people get to know that that one is like that, before you even mention something in my village, they'll tell you, that one we know is a nuisance. Sit down. But sometimes give these people also their respect. I don't know whether this is a class where I gave you a story about a madman. I come from the east, to be specific, from Bukedea. People have started disassociating themselves from Bukedea. Me, I'm a Bukedian. I've never stolen anyone. I've been working, and the people know how much I've struggled. But some people have started disassociating themselves from Bukedea because of some of these investigations that are ongoing. I don't have any issue with anyone, and I will tell you, I'm Anete Sot, I come from Bukedea, and that's what I will tell you. But that's not important. Because now, people had started saying, it is so, that kind of thing. You associate people. No, even the one that you are beginning to crucify, you have not yet convicted her. So sometimes it's not good to apportion blame to tribes, to regions, to individuals, before actually there is a verdict. So sometimes this is where the trust is lost completely. So this madman, I was in Mabera forest, stuck, and I saw the vehicle was not moving well. I get out of the car. I realized that 3 bolts of one of the tires, a rare one, were off. And they're supposed to be 5. Now 3 have gone, 2 have remained. So it was only remaining these 2 that were running. Say, now, what do I do? I saw a madman emerging from the forest, and the man told me, some of these madmen, they are not permanently mad. Sometimes they can reason. The man told me I should check on the other 3 tires and remove one bullet from those ones, and I will be able to fix this one. And that's what I did, and it worked. So sometimes rubbishing people before they contribute is not also good. So colleagues, I think we need to stop here as I relax my voice for tomorrow's activity. Next time we meet, we shall be able to do a recap first, then we shall go to unit number 3. And colleagues, if you formulated groups, please observe people who have not been able to know where they belong to these groups, so that very soon you are going to make presentations. So there was an alert, I shared the coursework, and there is a deadline. Madam President, when are we supposed to have these presentations or submission? Has she already left?
End of this month.
Viola, I think maybe she's breastfeeding. She said she was putting a child to sleep. Okay, colleagues, you have groups, make sure you stick to them. What's the deadline? When are you supposed to submit?
31st, Doctor.
31st.
Oh, 31st, that's okay, thank you. Okay, you still have time. Please absorb people who do not have groups. Thank you. Good night. Bye for now.
Good night, Doctor.
Thank you.
Good night.
All the best tomorrow.
Good night.
Yeah, let's meet tomorrow. For those who are going to graduate, please. Even if you are not going to graduate, be online, because we are going to have, they call it what? Live streaming. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Doctor.